This is Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. An informal chats with top business moguls as they share their stories of failure and success in a fun and relaxed way. Get entertained, educated, and unlock the secrets to success.
Welcome to Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman. I'm here with a delightful guest who is a young entrepreneur, Generation Z, Samantha Mills. Samantha, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You're the founder and president of Clover Edge Creative.
Yes, I am.
So we had an opportunity to speak at a Chamber of Commerce event, and I've really enjoyed getting to see what people are doing across the country. They're becoming entrepreneurs, they're building their businesses. The Generation Z is of particular interest. We try to highlight on this program the different leaders that are coming out of the Generation Z range. So the Generation Z is the age they were born between 1997 and 2012. The silent generation, 1928 to 1945, baby boomers from 1946 to 1964, Generation X from 1965 to 1980, the millennials from 1981 to 1996, and then Generation Z, as I mentioned, from 1997 to 2012. And so I am thrilled to have this conversation with you because you're doing something exciting and fun, and you have this new business that you just developed, and your work is incredible. Your website is amazing. You and I met just a few days ago, it seems, to talk about your business and how you do what you do and how you evolved and started. But tell our listening audience, with your other business leaders, about your company.
Yeah, of course. So Clover Edge Creative, it is a marketing and graphic design company focused on working with nonprofits and service organizations and local businesses. A lot of what we do is brand development, consulting, digital communications, graphic design, of course, print services, and social media.
Now, how did you get started? What inspired you to go off on your own? I'm always intrigued by that question. It's funny to look at, intriguing to look at someone that started a business, and now we're seeing the end result of the business they created 30 years ago. So they might be a $300 million company, but we don't oftentimes, unless you were there, get to see when they started with just one person. What spurred the idea? What spurred your idea to create your own business?
Absolutely. So I am a Richardson Rotarian. So Rotarians are members of Rotary International. And Rotary International is the largest nonprofit or service organization that works with nonprofits and local organizations to promote good in the communities.
Right.
It's the largest non-political and non-religious organization in the world. There are 46,000 clubs in the world currently, and over, I want to say it's 1.3 million members.
That is true.
So I'm currently a board member, just starting my second year as a board member, doing our bulletins and our social media, public relations, all of that. And I've always wanted to do good within my vocation. And I started with Rotary 3 years ago. Actually, next month will be 3 years.
Okay.
And a lot of members in the club were encouraging me to do more. And I figured, let's create a business so I can actually follow the Rotarian way. It's the 4-way test. It's, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned? So I wanted to actually live that through my vocation.
Nice.
And so that's what I kind of did, or trying to do with Clover
How did
Edge.
you learn about Rotary Club?
Yes. So it actually stems back from my childhood. I have 3 older brothers. They're all Eagle Scouts. Okay. So they're all doing that throughout my childhood. And I got to help with the flag program, putting out flags for holiday events with the McKinney Rotary Club. Okay. And it just is a full circle moment being a Rotarian. So.
And now you're on the board, which is really neat.
Yes.
And so with creating your business, it's a business within your area of expertise. So tell me about your journey through college. I presume you studied in that area, and then you left and began working in that area, and now decided to create this opportunity in your area of expertise. And I mentioned specifically your area of expertise because so many people work to make a living. and then they create a business based out of a passion that might be different from their area of expertise.
Yeah.
And so, but you've merged the two, right? You've merged a passion with something that you were trained as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to the University of North Texas, graduated in 2021, actually. Took 5 years to go through. Right. But originally I went to Collin College first for 3 years.
Okay.
And so then I transferred. One thing that I found whenever I had transferred, the communication design program there, it's 4 years, like start to finish, and you have to take classes on a specific year. And so when I transferred, it was actually going to be 7 years.
Okay. Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah. And so it's like, I don't want to spend 7 years trying to get just a bachelor's.
Right.
And so I actually shifted my degree to interdisciplinary art and design studies.
Okay.
So with that, I had more flexibility in what I could do and different classes that I could take. I got to take digital fabrications. I know how to 3D print things nowadays. But with that, it allowed me to take a minor in journalism, as well as photography, which I was already working on. And that introduced me to one of my good friends and mentors, Rebecca Pointer. She's a teacher over at UNT in the Mayborn School of Journalism.
Right.
She was actually the Rotarian, the club president of the Rotary Club. Whenever I joined, she got me to join.
She for the Richardson Rotary Club?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how I got into it. But I have been working full time for a company over in Richardson called GSM Outdoors, and as a graphic designer. And I've done before that, I was doing contract work for design and things like that. But it all has gotten me to my business. I'm trying to do more.
So have you always had an interest in design? How did you spur that interest growing up for design and artwork?
Absolutely. I've always been an artist. Okay. At family gatherings, I'd be set aside drawing pictures and all that fun stuff. I thought about doing education at one point. I decided it wasn't quite the best choice for me because public speaking at the time was not as my higher on the skill set.
Right.
And so that's why I tried not to do that. But design, I figured I could do more and help people with the just creative field.
Now, so you're pretty diverse in what you do. So you help people with their websites and their social media. How did you broaden it just from a strict design perspective? Because design is kind of focused, but how do you expand? Have you expanded your portfolio already? Because you're so new, both in your career, but also in the business. Yeah,
absolutely. So with going to UNT and being in the interdisciplinary program, I had the opportunity to take classes that were in videography and photography and journalism. With that area, I did a nonprofit, PR for nonprofits and social media management. And so it allowed me to have that diversity that is led to Clover Edge.
Sure. That's really fascinating. So social media is, I am leaning on you because people from my generation, we're still trying to figure out social media and how it works. But what can you tell me about social media and how do you manage marketing for a business in today's social media? How do you create a space for an organization to be found and build their own marketing platform, like within the social media space? Yeah,
absolutely. So it actually does stem a little bit from graphic design itself, from the visual perspective. And branding. Branding is so important for a business. If you don't have like the consistent fonts and color scheme and like just the overall visual representation of your business, people aren't going to necessarily recognize your business. And that's why following the brand guidelines, all of that is so important. Right. And so that stems to your social media platform. So you got to have your correct logo and the color scheme. Don't change it up as much as some people will, because if you do, they're not going to recognize your business as much. And so just having that consistency within the visual perspective, that will make a huge difference. And having the voice being consistent.
So from what you're finding, which platforms seem to be the most effective for either a business, maybe a nonprofit, or a related entity?
I would say from a younger generation standpoint,
Sure.
Instagram is pretty good, but
Okay.
especially LinkedIn, just for on a professional standpoint, LinkedIn
Okay.
is huge. And then having a visual
Sure.
perspective of YouTube, even
Sure.
like doing that.
Okay.
I have the videos. Those are pretty top level.
The
as-
videos are important.
yeah,
Yeah.
having that visual, like eye-catching
Right.
perspective.
Creating the short side here is quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's not showing a face, you can do it on more of a design side,
Interesting.
and more of like photos and things like that. You can create those into videos, and so that's
Interesting.
also interesting.
Can you tell me more about your experience in that process? Not using a person's video visual, but using artwork and design to create a YouTube product.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do voiceovers,
Okay.
but having like some sort of visual cues, like you can have kind of like a more interactive PowerPoint, you
Okay.
could say, and doing that where it's a little bit more visually stimulating in that perspective, where you can like read the copy on the screen and things like that, but you're also having the audio with it.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
And so, if you had to give a company advice on building a marketing program,
Mhm.
what would you say to them, especially the nonprofits? Because the nonprofits might not, and that's actually, let's go back to your focus area then, because you are specifically more focused on the nonprofit. Why nonprofits? And then how do you help them build a program that works in that nonprofit space?
Yeah, absolutely. So nonprofits, there are 46,000 plus in the Dallas area alone. And so
It's a great opportunity is what that says, right?
yeah,
To help
absolutely.
them.
There's so many out there. And the issue that I found is a lot of them don't have social media.
Oh,
and
interesting.
With that, they may not be working with the city as much,
Okay.
depending on what type of organization they are.
Sure.
So that can make a huge difference. But for a social media and branding aspect, having that visual recognition is so important.
Right.
The issue that comes into play is when you have nonprofits that are for
Podcasts are so popular, even monkeys are doing it.
75% of Americans listen to podcasts monthly. That's 210 million people in the United States alone. And yes, podcasts are profitable. Joe Rogan is making $30 million per year. Your content, your knowledge is worth sharing. Don't just dream it, do it. Visit andycostafilms.com/podcast and turn your content into leaks.
where you kind of have to be careful on what you
Sure.
share, especially if it's regarding like children and
Gotcha.
abuse and things like that. That is so important
makes
to
sense.
try and you can't publicize those things as much,
Right.
you know? And so that is an issue that does come into play.
Well,
with
and
that.
you know, that's interesting because you're right. Based upon their specific clients, in fact, the producer, Andy Costa, on the program, we were having a conversation with an organization based in Michigan.
Mhm.
We were trying to help them on some of their efforts. And they had a similar challenge because they didn't want to expose some of their clients.
Mhm.
And I've had this happen in organizations that I've helped to manage where I sat on the board is,
Mhm.
do we use people in the program? You know,
Mhm.
we have to get their permission, of course, especially when it comes to children, you have to get their parental permission.
Yeah.
Or do we use actors?
Mhm.
And using an actor sometimes can seem a little disingenuous, but it was so that we could protect the privacy of the
Yeah.
people that we were engaged with.
Safety is the utmost priority in those
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah.
It's very vital to keep them safe, whether it's abuse or just children in general. You don't know what is going on in those cases, and you don't necessarily want to, hey, this person's over here, you know?
Right.
That may be a issue with safety.
Now, so a lot of these nonprofits, they may not have social media. Do they have a website? Some years ago, I found it fascinating, and not long ago, actually. There's still a number of companies that either do not have a website or they have a website that was built 10, 15, 20 years ago. which is horrible. And then what's even more intriguing to have those companies that have a URL, so they have their website domain, they have an okay website, but all of their emails are maybe company name @gmail.com versus using their own URL.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating in today's time. Your website, as I mentioned, is brilliant. You have your own URL and the like, so you can set it up well.
Yeah.
But are you seeing the same thing, that they just don't have a robust website in addition to not having social media?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are nonprofits that use Facebook. They just have a Facebook page.
I've seen businesses the same.
Yeah. And without the website, you don't look as professional in a way. And so that can discredit you in a way. Which is sad, because if you're trying to do good, you want to be able to look like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm being able to do. I will say, with having domains for a website, it does cost. And so that is possibly a reason why some businesses don't have the name where it says just Gmail or Yahoo at the end. And that's why. It's because it is costly. And some of them, there's a nonprofit that my mom volunteered with not too long ago. And this woman, her sons were in high school, or I think they're still in high school. They are doing like snack packs and all these like care kits for homeless people in the Dallas area.
Right.
It's high schoolers and a mom, and they have a van that will take all the stuff out, but they don't, it's a family. They don't have the finances to do that. You know, it's out of their own pocket.
Right.
And getting grants to nonprofits is even hard too.
Right.
Yeah.
True. So walk us through the journey of when someone approaches you, they find you, and they realize that you're there to help them as a nonprofit. What's next? How do you help them build a plan and a strategy around their operation?
Yeah, absolutely. So usually I will meet with them either in person or through a video call. And then I'll kind of go through what their pain points are with branding and marketing and all that. Like what is their end goal? How can I do that? And so usually I'll send them, once we have this initial meeting, I'll send them a proposal and just kind of like itemized list of everything that I would provide them. One thing to help nonprofits, on my website, there's actually a section that has like pre-designed, essentially templates in a way. And so I can take those overall base designs that if they were to like it, can take their branding and put it into there. And so it's a lot more cost effective to them.
So you design those?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
So there's flyers, there's business cards, there's social media posts, things like that. And with that, it's my way of being able to make it a little bit more cost effective.
Sure. Now, what made you decide to build those templates specifically for that person? It's a great idea. And a lot of other bigger companies do something similar. A lot of companies don't, especially, startups like yours, they don't necessarily make those templates available on their website to make it easy to see those options. They might have it in the back end, they might charge a lot and then give a template, but that's a creative way to start building your business. Yeah,
absolutely. I found it because I was already kind of creating some for the Rotary Club as a part of my skills to provide it to the club and volunteering. I was like, why don't I use some of these designs and put it on the website? And I can make it more accessible to these nonprofits. Because if I'm creating something from scratch, it's going to take a lot longer to do. And there's going to be back and forth revisions. And so it takes more and it costs more for them. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can.
Right. Now, there was something in your profile that really stood out to me. It says at Clover Edge Creative, the design is not just about aesthetics. It's about purpose. Tell me more about what that means for...
Yeah, absolutely. So having the purpose and like being able to visually represent the company and like what kind of what they're trying to do, like the positive impact. Say if they're like the Rotary Club, we're trying to promote good in the world, regardless of where you are, and being able to bring that in a visual rather than just like a pretty image or just someone holding a snack pack that they did at a nonprofit, that they made. Having that like more of a like kind of like in a way kind of pulling heartstrings. Trying to get that emotion from the audiences is so important. And being able to do that, it makes the most difference.
Right.
Mhm.
So what's next for you? Like, what's next in this journey of building your business?
Absolutely. So I'm still trying to do the design and get clients to be able to like work with them and all that. But one thing I have launched is CEC Connect. It's a networking platform for nonprofits and service organizations to connect with one another.
Okay.
And so with that, I am looking into doing networking events for them. So I would invite the nonprofits and service organizations to attend and hear, hey, connect with each other, essentially. And once I can get that going a little bit more, provide the platform, like discounted is already a very low cost, but being able to do that and have that connection option for them. Because a lot of nonprofits, like we already established, they may not have websites. They may have like a really old Facebook page that they update every month, if that. Some are like 2 years ago, you know? And if they're not consistent with that, they're like, it's a little bit harder for them to connect. And then with the scale of nonprofits in the Dallas area alone, a lot of them may not know about Rotary clubs or Altrusa clubs and things, those types of organizations. They're not going to get as much funding and service assistance from people volunteering with them.
So you described kind of why you created it, but for the CEC, what brought you to the realization that I need to fundamentally build this as a part of my operation? That's a great idea, trying to get them networked and connected. But was there an event that happened that led you to realize that they need this type of service?
Actually, it was the nonprofit that I mentioned previously that my mom volunteered with. Right. And it's a mom and 2 sons. Like they may not know about nonprofit or service organizations that can help them. And so I have worked a little bit with my Rotary Club to try and like figure out things to do to some of these nonprofits that need help.
Now, what I think one of the items that I noted was the concept of connections. So the Rotary Club is a great connection point for you. You're doing a lot. You're volunteering. They have you now on the board. But your connection with your professor at UNT also served as a great point for you as a connection point. Tell us, for the person either looking to start a business or someone that might be young in their career, how important are those connections? How do you find those connections? How do you build them? How do you build the confidence to go out and create that network?
Absolutely. Connections are everything. And people say that all the time, but sometimes you don't know who you're going to connect with and how they're going to change your life. Like I mentioned previously, I wasn't planning on doing journalism as a minor, and I happened to meet her. I stay in contact a little bit with some of my design professors, but not too much. It's a journalism professor. And so trying to pigeonhole yourself into like a certain area of people to connect with, you want to broaden the spectrum because you never know. And so there's so many Rotarians that have various vocations. There's lawyers, there's various business owners from, I don't know, photographers to someone who's doing more, I'm trying to think, different people, basically, a wide spectrum of people and their vocations. And so you just never know how they may be able to give you advice on things. And so it makes a huge difference.
Do you have the Rotary app on your phone as well?
I do have Club Runner on my phone currently.
So what's neat is that you have the ability to connect with those 1.5 or so million Rotarians across the world, which is fantastic. So as people look to become involved and build that network and find like-minded people, you know, if you're traveling in Australia and there's a Rotary Club and you want to connect with them, they welcome you as a part of the family. So it's a great connection opportunity that not a lot of people know. You have access to interact with those 1+ million people.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some Rotary clubs that are remote as well. They're e-clubs.
Right.
And so that's a very interesting and vital thing to have because younger professionals, I'm fortunate that where I was working and where the clubs met for meetings was only 5-minute drive away. And I could go during my lunch breaks. But not as many young people have that opportunity.
Right.
And if a lot of people I've actually found that they've never heard of Rotary Club.
Right.
A lot of younger people.
Right.
The average age of Rotarian is 65 years old.
The average age. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so trying to bring the social media aspect and like that type of marketing to clubs, it makes a huge difference. Like I took on the Bulletin a little over a year ago. And with that, like there's actually a platform that Rotary has that you can create these really pretty emails. But a lot of the Rotarians in my club didn't know it.
Right.
Yeah, it was a PDF that they used to send out that was created through Word. It was a little confusing, even for myself.
Right.
When I first opened it up and I was like, hey, I found this other option. In 5 minutes. And so that has made a huge difference in our club and how we communicate with our fellow Rotarians as well as people who are interested.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Smith, it's been incredibly insightful to hear about your journey to creating your business. Everyone comes to this point at a certain stage or they're encouraged in a certain way, but it sounds like you found a purpose in being able to utilize your expertise in building your own company. So I'm excited to hear about what you're doing, and I'm hopeful that for other Gen Z as well as other business leaders, they can hear your story and try to create and follow your path. So if you had any specific tips, business decoded tips that you'd like to leave with anyone listening to the program, what would that be as they embark on their journey in business and careers?
I would say if you're wanting to like start a business, for instance, find something that is not just going to like make you money. Find something that's actually going to like make a difference in your heart.
Right.
And if you are able to find something, that type of passion, it's all that matters. Right. You know, regardless of money, just being able to do something that is more impactful.
Right. I love it. Well, I am hopeful that anyone listening to the Business Decoded podcast has a chance to really explore her business, but also take an opportunity to share this podcast with other people that are looking to learn how to create a business, how to build a career. There's a lot of insightful information just as you've given to our listening audience. And so congratulations on your business. I look forward to following your evolution and development and growth as a business leader, but also as a company that's doing great work in the community.
Thank you so much. I've had a wonderful time here today.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman.
Thank you for listening to Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. Please be sure to subscribe and share and stay tuned for more incredible Business Decoded episodes.